Thanks everyone for coming here on so early, first day in the morning. Scroll's been around for a little while. We've been on mainnet for about a year, but I think one story that we've never quite shared is kind of like why we called Scroll. There are so many chain solutions out there. Why pick a name that has no direct association with the product itself? So the name actually came from scaling with a rollup. That was our core mission of scaling the Ethereum blockchain beyond its current EVM limitations. And the second association is that we're scaling, where we're building a smart contract rollup. So we wanted to build something that was fully compatible and as developer-friendly as humanly possible. And then the last mission is that we want the end user experience to be as close to scrolling on your phone as possible. So hopefully none of these decisions and choices and wallets need to be something that you are worried or concerned about. What have we done so far? We've built a chain that is 100% ZK EVM compatible with the fastest finality within the industry categorically. The difference is between 8 minutes and versus like 8 hours, which is our closest competitor. And the finality time is going to get into the sub-seconds category within a matter of months. Why does this matter? There are so many different kind of chains out there. Finality is what makes the difference between the in and outs of capital. So when you're moving capital in and out, finality means the amount of the time that the final settlement happens. Why does this matter? This matters in a world where capital flow will become more and more automated and more kind of optimized across whether it's a human trying to balance your DeFi portfolio or AI agents trying to make sure that the yield source is as optimized as possible. And this is also super important and critical in a future where it is multi-chain. So think about a future where you can call for your meme coin stats on a different chain or trade NFT on a different chain. A finality is what makes this possible through a single wallet interface. How far away is that future? Is this science fiction? Cognitively, if you believe the human psyche takes like a few seconds of wait to register for that kind of pricing and settlement process to happen before it's cognitively defined seamless, most studies show that's within the sub-second category. So if the settlement happens within a few seconds, most human beings right now with our level of attention span would consider that instant. And that's good enough for a holistic cross-chain interaction experience. We've also grown exponentially over the last year on TVL, which is one of the main kind of DeFi metrics. We're right now with roughly 1.2 billion, give or take, on the bridge. And we have 250 plus ecosystem projects and the fastest growing developer community. This is a little bit of a deep dive into kind of like what is the product differentiation at the chain level. So we've built the most compatible ZK chain, and that is a very, very difficult engineering feat. When we set off on this mission, most people thought it would take maybe 10 years, but we managed to deliver the main chain within 2.5 years, and within 1 year of main chain launch, we're getting close to cost parity with the most competitive of the L2 rollups. And while we've managed to attract some liquidity on chain, so if you care about liquidity of people voting with their capital, voting with their feet, we're by far the largest ZK rollup by TVL. And what we just touched on, we also have the fastest finality by almost like an order of magnitude. What are we going to do next? Yes, you build cool tech, so what? What's going to happen next? So I think we're going to continue working and doubling down on performance optimization. Is the current chain cheap enough? It's cheap enough for most meaningful financial transactions, but is it cheap enough for payment? Is it cheap enough for something that is like social oriented or a bit more trivial and a bit more high frequency? We're not quite there yet, but we're going to get there pretty fast. I think by the time it gets into the sub-cents kind of vertical and instant proving, a lot more design space for application builders will start to open up. And the second phase of our development is decentralization at every level. Why does that matter? I think a future, like kind of going back to what Arthur touched on earlier, what is the point of having a blockchain at all if it has multiple points of failure, or single points of failure? The whole idea is to decentralize the chain at every level, and that requires decentralized provers, decentralized sequencers, and decentralized governance, and a lot of different layers of the stack that can be more distributed so that the whole system is more Lindy. Doubling down on our commitment to the developing market. So part of our origin story is that Scroll is a bunch of open source developers that met on the Ethereum forums 3 years ago. So naturally, we came from all quarters of the world. So right now, Scroll has core contributors spanning over 30 different countries. Yes, it is an administrative nightmare, but yes, it also means we're very, very close to developers and communities in the developing world specifically, and this is where we find the biggest business opportunity. This is where blockchain is needed the most in our experience, and this is where talent is the most abundant and also underappreciated. So what we do as a chain is that there is a human aspect to this where we want to focus on this global pool of capital where we've managed to amass over the last couple of months, and we want to direct them in a place where they're most efficient and also kind of earning the most. What have we learned on, so a lot of people will know Scroll because of something we run called the Scroll Sessions. So people either know Scroll because, oh, you guys are building really cool tech, or they know Scroll because something called Sessions, which are means of an incentives program. Like the nerds that we are, of course, we do a ton of studies to study like how these incentives have triggered user behavior, and these are some of the learnings. We've been running this for 3 or 4 months, and obviously, a lot of people are happy, a lot of people are unhappy, but the results are unequivocally successful. So the growth chart on the top right is one of TVL growing. So if you're in our Discord, people are constantly kind of bitching about how, oh, this is not right, that's not right, but you can see what they're doing with their actual wallets. And in terms of growth TVL from like the different markets, we've also seen developers or projects that choose to launch on Scroll grow exponentially compared to other chains they launch on. So as a developer, naturally you're thinking, okay, there are 50 chains. Where do I deploy? Where do I spend my time? This stats on the bottom left corner should tell you that if you make the right decision, this is what your growth will look like. So look on chain and make this decision yourself. In terms of what we're doing, we're very, very community focused. We started from the community, we want to give back to the community, and we do a lot of community activation around the world. We've done 60 plus active community engagements around the world in the last 6 years. We're working closely with communities in Nigeria, in Malaysia, and Singapore is one of the communities that we're really excited about and where we see a ton of talent. One of our internal mantras about like why we do this is kind of we believe that talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. And unlike AI or a lot of the other technical sectors, blockchain is one of the few opportunities where people around the world can participate on an even footing to the mass kind of amount of opportunity that's coming, that's brought about by this decentralized layer of the Internet of Value. Whatever that means, it means like whoever builds, like comes up with new ideas and can find a similar level of support on chain, a similar level of like information about how to learn how to code Solidity, how to like, build a friendship network that can help you grow. We think the information flow and opportunity is more evenly distributed in blockchain as opposed to any other kind of tech vertical sector. And we want Scroll to be the chain where the opportunity is more evenly distributed as opposed to every other L2. So this is something we're going to double down on, and to share a little bit about kind of builder testimony about what people are building on Scroll, what they're excited about, and hopefully this can give you guys some ideas on, what to do or how to build a community here. This is a third. I think this is from the Electric Capital report. So we have the fastest growing ecosystem for overall developers in between Q4 2023 and the year before. And these are some of the kind of stats about on-chain developer activation. And we're pretty battle tested now with like 2.5 million unique wallets and also a ton of transactions on chain. So we're pretty confident about our ZK compatibility feature of our mission. The next stage of growth will be about adding more features to the EVM. Being an L2 means we're more agile, we're closer to the developers, and we've been gathering a lot of feedback about features that other people want to use and build, and we'll be adding those. There's a bunch of really exciting EVM Plus type of announcements towards the later half of the year. We're also going to be doubling down on stability and ease of operation and sovereignty and permissionlessness. And also, the team is just super excited about building and leveraging the latest and the coolest tech. So the last part, which we haven't quite shared before, is that we are going to be launching our own SDK. And the goal here is that we believe in a future where applications with sufficient traction might want their dedicated block space. And we want to build an experience where they can do it seamlessly and almost in a one-click fashion. And we're building out a bunch of services kind of vertically integrated along that line. And we have some very exciting partners to share, but I'm told not to share today. And here's some of our socials and call to action. You can find us on our website, Twitter. I'm very active on X, and our developer startup kit and Rollup Explorer are sources of on-chain information if you want to know where to go and how to play around. So with that in mind, thank you all for listening, and feel free to reach out anytime. I think most of our team are active on socials. See you later.